I went left, but yet I brought it down. Now we are all the way out. That is completely drilled out, ready to be tapped. In total, you know, here's another 41 minutes that we had on there. So when it comes to drilling bolts, the trick is to get the center punch right. And then once you get the center punch, you want to start small and then gradually get bigger with the drill bits as you drill through the bolt. So once you get the center punch centered, you can also kind of angle out with your drill bit a little bit, you know, to kind of re-center it. If your center mark is a little bit off, you just kind of go in a little bit and then slowly just work it until you straighten out your hole. First thing we need to do is use this right here, which is a center punch. These are pretty nice because you can self-click them and it does it itself. Once you get your hole centered like that, then all you're going to do is just go up from the bit to the bit to the bit. You want to go slow, and you want these to be coming off like this. So if you're getting a lot of shavings like this that are coming off just perfectly, you know, rotation as it cuts, it's just a little bit of pressure with the drill bit and then going slow, allowing the drill bit to do all the cutting. Making sure that you have a sharp drill bit is the best way to start, because a dull drill bit will just cause you problems. So start small, and then once you get the first one through, the rest of them are a lot easier. You just go a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger until you can get this thing all the way out. But that is how you're going to start the drill, especially on a drill bit. Other types of metals, aluminum, stuff like that, it's a way softer metal. So bolts, stainless steel, stuff like that, these are the ones that are difficult. But let's continue to drill this one out. And it's all about keeping consistent pressure on the drill bit. So you just run it slow, and I like to use my body and just lean against it, but you want to be able to feel it and be looking at the drill bit, because if you see the drill bit start to wobble, you're going to snap the drill bit. You need to keep everything straight. So your pressure on the drill bit has to be straight on the drill bit. From the drill to the drill bit has to be straight pressure. Like, you can't have any sideways motion to it. Like if you're leaning on it like this, or from the bottom, or like moving your hands on it, you're going to snap that drill bit because you're putting too much pressure on the drill bit. So keeping it straight pressure onto it and like pushing straight in from the back of the drill, that's the key. And then also slowly like go a little bit, and then make sure you keep some kind of lubricant, whether it's PB Blaster, whether it's Kroll, or any drilling type of thing, and then stop and make sure that you're centered. And this first, like the first one's the hardest one. It takes the longest. I like to use a 3 and 30 seconds. That's usually the first one that I like to start with, because 1/16 is just too small. You'll snap it, or the likeliness of snapping is a lot higher. But a 3 and 32nd is a good starting point. It's got a little stability to it, so you can give it good pressure. Also, you want to have a hard metal one. Don't try and use, you know, a wood drill bit or something like that, to where it is something that's not meant for drilling into metal. You want to make sure that it is a hard metal drill bit, and it has to be sharp. If you burn out the bit, like if you go too fast or you push too hard, you're going to just tear the bit up and it's not going to cut. You need the drill bit with just enough pressure to keep it cutting into the metal, and then also just slow enough to where it's just slowly biting off little slivers of metal at a time, and that's why you get those long strands of metal of just consistent pressure. If you push too hard, you'll get chunks, and then you'll burn up the drill bit and it won't drill, and then you're just going to cause yourself all kinds of problems. This is how I like to hold the drill. So you can see I got the drill bit, goes right in, and then I like to hold the drill from the back and use my other hand to hold the trigger and use my body weight to push straight down. So you have all the momentum going straight from my hand straight into the drill bit, and that way there's no like back and forth side. If you tilt left or right, you're gonna snap your drill bit. So making sure that you hold it like that is a good tip. Okay, just for some context, we are now through with our first hole. Another reason why I like the 3/30 seconds is because it's just big enough for the straw to fit into the hole. So once you get all the way in, you can get to the back and then put some Kroll behind there in the back, which is really good. But we are at, let's see here if this will focus, we are at 35 minutes. So that took 35 minutes to drill one hole into this bolt, and it's just about as long as this drill bit. So if we stick the drill bit in there, that is pretty much all the way through. So you've got, what, like an inch, maybe an inch and a half there. So definitely takes a lot of time. I would say that patience is going to be key when we come to drilling a bolt. But now that we got our first one through, now I'm going to switch it up and start using a left-handed drill bit and see if I can get this actual bolt out. But I'll probably just have to drill all the way through and then tap it. So that's kind of the case with this, because we've got an inch and a half of a bolt still stuck into all those threads. Using an extractor just doesn't really work. You pretty much have to just drill the whole bolt out and then tap it and then put a new bolt in there. Just kind of what you have to do. There's not really a way around it. You can't really just extract a long bolt like that. It just, most of the times the extractor breaks, just like we did. I'm not going to have it in this video, but in the other video where we do all four of these bolts, you break an extractor, it becomes a big problem, because if you look down here at the bottom, you have to drill holes all the way around the extractor in order to then hammer it from the side to get it to pop out and be able to get it out of the hole. So that's a big issue, and you don't ever want to have to do that. So let's continue on by drilling out the rest of this bolt, and we will be able to do all four of these. But for this video, we're just drilling this out. So now I'm going to switch up to a left-handed drill bit, depending on what size I have. I think that I only have, so these go from 3/30 seconds up to an 1/8. I will probably actually not go that route. I'm going to actually go, so here is 3/30 seconds, and 7/64 is the next one up. So I'm probably going to go ahead and run a 7/64 through there, just because it makes it a whole lot easier to drill out. And you're going to see when we do this why it's easier to go to a smaller one, like a next size up, opposed to jumping different drill bits. You get a lot more control. So actually, yeah, let me go ahead and hit a 7/64. Then we'll do a left-handed 1/8. Then we'll probably do like a 9/64, because this one jumps all the way up to a 3/16, and you can see that 3/16 is here. So you jump from an 1/8, you jump 1, 2, 3 different sizes. So big difference between the 1/8 and the 3/16. I don't really like to jump that many sizes when drilling out a bolt, because when you go the smaller sizes, like if I go to the 7/64, if we are a little bit off, like we are on this hole, we are a little bit to the right, just a smidgen. We need this hole to come over a little bit to the left. So with a smaller drill bit, we can actually move that left and right and drill a little bit over. So let me get the other drill bit, and we're going to start drilling this. We'll drill it slowly first and just kind of angle which way we want to do this. So if like I want to go this way, I'm going to take the drill bit, I'm going to drill this way into it. And then after I get, you know, a few cuts into this side, then I'll be able to straighten the drill bit out. And then when we go in, you'll be able to see that you will be a little bit down off of this hole, so we can actually move the hole however you want to move it based on what you need. For us, we need to come over just to the left, just a little bit. We're centered except for just a little bit to the left, so let me show you how to do that next. Well, I kind of messed that one up a little bit. If you can see it, kind of hard to see on the camera, but opposed to going left, I went left, but yet I brought it down. So on the next go round, on the next drill bit, I'm gonna have to bring it back up. But now we're gonna go straight through this bolt. So let me go ahead and drill straight through it, and you can see how much quicker this is gonna go. We're at 2 minutes in. So let me get all the way through this bolt, and then we'll check what time it is. All right, we are all the way through the bolt, and it is at 4 minutes. So that took us all of 2 minutes to get through there the second time. So now let me go ahead and move up to the left-handed drill bit. I'm going to go with the 1/8 drill bit this time. So I'm going to send an 1/8 through, and again I'm going to try and angle up so that way I can eat a little bit off of this top and straighten this out a little bit. I don't need to eat much off of the bottom right, and we'll get this thing centered back up into the bolt. Okay, and that is all the way through with the third round, and we're at just over 10 minutes. We're at 11, so that doesn't take very long once you get that first one in there. Obviously, if I wasn't stopping and recording, then I'd be a little bit quicker, but here's the next one. We are pretty well centered, maybe down a little bit to the left and the right, but you can only cheat so much. Like if you try and take an angle like this, you're going to snap the drill bit. So you need, like, you can only take, like, you know, a very, very small amount to try and recenter the drill bit. Like if you're here, you're going to snap that drill bit. If you are like here, you know, just a hair off to the side, it'll dig in, and you can slowly work that thing up like this, but you can't do much because again you'll snap the drill bit. So especially when you get to the bigger ones, because the bigger ones you're just shaving off the inside of the hole, which means that this just eats right through it really, really quickly. That's why it only takes us like a minute or two to drill through with these bigger bits. So you can only cheat so much, so try and get your center punch and your first hole perfect, and as long as you get your first hole perfect, you're going to be rocking and rolling. So we're going to go ahead and go up to our next one. I'm going to go ahead and go with the 9/64, then 5/32, then 11/64, and we're going to work all the way up to, I think I'll go up to 1/4 with this. I'm not 100% sure, but we're just going to keep working up with the drill bits now. and this is the 9/64. Again, you really can't even tell much of a difference, but we are down a little bit lower than I'd like to be, but I'm going to try and cheat it up a little bit, see how much I can get. You really don't have as much play once you get to the bigger sizes, because they just, I mean, they burn through the bolt. So let me go ahead and do the next couple sizes, and then we'll see where we're at. And that is all the way up to an 11/64. So now we are up to needing to put in a 3/16. I don't know if I really want to go with the left-handed, just because these are the cheapy cheaps, and I'm needing to cheat quite a bit because we are pretty low as far as where the bolt is. So let me see what I can do. Either way, we're going to get through it pretty nicely, but we are a little bit low. We really need to take off a lot on the top, and it's kind of hard to get that much up. So now you get to see exactly kind of the problems of being off center. Okay, we are just a little bit off still. Next one's going to be the 13/64. I probably should have showed you this trick earlier. If you're not comfortable with your depths on your drill bits too, you can put it in an existing hole, put a piece of blue tape on there, and then whenever you run it into the drill or in your hole, you know when you've reached the end and it's time to pull the drill bit back out. So just a little trick if you've never seen that before. We are actually, I mean, that is pretty good as far as being on center. So now we just need to go ahead and drill the next size up. You can't tell by this, but this is another half hour. So we'll go through all the rest of the drill bits and see how long the entire process took. And we are all the way up to a 15/64, and we have pretty much middled this biscuit. Like, that is, you know, here's a thread that popped off, like, but the rest of it, we are pretty much centered all the way through. this bolt. So now next thing is going to be to step up to the 1/4, and the 1/4 is the final one. That's the one that goes in, and then we can be able to put the tap in there and be able to tap everything out. So that is the next bolt that's going to go through, and a lot of this should just kind of pop right off as soon as we go in there. I mean, look, that's JB Weld from whenever we tried to JB Weld the nut on there to try and take it off. But so that is how you middle it. I mean, that is perfect. We ended up just perfect on the middle of that thing, so pretty pleased. Now let me go ahead and run the last one through there, and then we will be able to tap this out in order to put a new bolt in there. Middled it. We're going in on this. I'm not sure if you can really see in here. I thought I had a flashlight out here, so let me see this. See if you can see this. It's kind of difficult to see, but like we are really middled on that thing, like going right down the middle. So kind of difficult to see, but we're going to go ahead and just knock out this last one. I mean, we're basically down the middle of the bolt and there's nothing but threads in there, so this should be a really easy tap whenever we go to tap it. Alright, now we are all the way out. That is completely drilled out, ready to be tapped. I mean, that was a perfect shot right down the middle of the bolt. In total, you know, here's another 41 minutes that we had on there. So obviously it's going to depend on the situation, the bolt, the depth of the bolt and all that. But I would say to drill out a bolt, you're probably somewhere in the range of an hour and a half to 3 hours. Depending on the bolt. So it can get very, very time consuming when you break a bolt, and in order to drill that out, I mean, it could take a job and really make it a real nightmare. So try not to break any bolts, but that is how you drill through a bolt. Now we just need to tap these and move on.